Good evening, everybody. I tell you, it's Sunday night. It's the end of February here in the year 2021. It feels like the future, right? And my goodness, I feel younger and vibrant just with chatting with our Broadway Battles contestants before the show today because we have a lot of you. All of our contestants tonight may have been born on or after the year 2000. That's a scary thought. But folks, I'm Adam Weiner here with Farmers Alley Theater. Welcome all to another edition of Broadway Battles. It is Generation Z edition tonight, not X, not Y, not millennials. We're going Z, folks, because we have so many talented youth in this area, in the Kalamazoo, West Michigan area, and I wanted to give them a chance and have some of our Farmers Alley and battle it out. And boy, folks, we have a good lineup for you tonight with some great questions, all dealing with Generation Z or the youth. Absolutely. So first off, I want to mention that we want to hear from you. So if you want to interact with us, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook. So you're clear to comment along with us. We can say hello to all of the folks and answer questions. Maybe you haven't seen Rosie, Jason, or Trinity in a while and want to give a shout out. Absolutely. And also, if their answers, they don't strike you as the best, or if you have a different answer, please comment on that. So we'll put your comment on the screen as part of the show. So make sure you allow StreamYard on Facebook by going to that link if you haven't already. So first of all, before I introduce the first three questions, our three contestants, rather, let's give you a sneak peek at our first Broadway Battles question, because we want to hear from you. So our first question will be, what musical will define Generation? So I'll get into that a little bit detail. Start thinking about that. Get some ideas. What musical right around now do you think 25 years from now we're going to look back on, and that's the defining answer? But I have a couple of caveats to that question first. So it's a tough question. It's a lot of possible answers. So, but let's first meet our tonight's contestants and it's on to the battle. I'd like to introduce our first contestant. She is a Portage Northern High School graduate who went on to Eastern Michigan University, but is actually transferring to the University of Alabama in Birmingham, getting out of this cold weather. Please welcome Miss Rosie Coryell. Rosie, are you here?
Hi. How are you?
You guys? I tell you, I'm a little flustered because you guys talking before the show is like, I am going to be terrible and everybody's just going to, I'm not going to be able to control you guys because, but it's very good to have you here. How have you been?
Good. It's good. This has been the one thing I've been looking forward to all day. Besides that, I've just been hanging out. So I'm happy to be here.
What is it like being like a theater student or an arts person in the time of COVID, especially a young person like yourself?
It's not the best, I'll tell you that. I'm lucky I have a few classes in person because ballet and costume construction online would just not work out too well, but I still have a lot of online classes and don't really leave my apartment much.
Are they doing any sort of performances or for streaming or anything like that?
Yeah, so they're doing recorded performances where everyone's in their own separate room recording things, and then they broadcast it each night. So right now we're working on putting up a musical. So yeah, it's exciting.
Cool. Very cool, man. Streaming I think is here to stay in some form, even when we get back to in person. But man, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, particularly in the educational realm. So
absolutely.
But we are here tonight to battle with folks of your age, of your generation. So let me introduce our next contestant, who is also a soon-to-be graduate of Portage Northern High School. He's currently a senior. He was in a production of Les Miserables along with Rosie in 2018. And he's been on this show. You've probably seen him, I'm sure, and maybe on Farmers Alley's stage a couple times. Please welcome Mr. Jason Koch, a familiar face. There he is.
Hello.
Sir, what's going on, man?
Not a lot. Some of the same old.
You got a lot to live up to tonight. Your dad's really good at this game.
I know. Yes, I have to make him proud with all of my witty answers and my, quick comebacks. So we will see how I do.
You're on a roll. Anyway, no. So how's it going for you, man? This is such a weird time. I feel for you and everybody in your class this semester. You know, what a crazy story you're going to have to tell.
Yeah.
What is that like? Real briefly, sum it up. What is it like going to a senior?
Yeah, real briefly, I would say that it's definitely an interesting school year. You know, not a lot to kind of keep up with. You know, it's sort
of all virtual.
Yeah, all virtual. So a lot of the structure that comes in school is a little bit non-existent there. So they'll just you'll log on, you'll click a button, and you're in your first hour. You'll click a button, you're in your next hour, and so that's all right. But I'm now considering myself more grateful, or more lucky and fortunate to have my senior year of high school online, so that the start of my college, knock on wood, the start of my college career can actually be back in person, and this will all be over by then. So you're
doing a lot of work on that right now, right? A lot of auditions and such, and that's big and nerve-wracking. And Rosie's gone through that, I know. So, oh my goodness. Yeah. I hope this is a nice, fun respite from your last semester as a senior. We got some good questions, and I know you are very opinionated, sir. So we have Rosie, we have Jason. Let's finish this triangle here by welcoming Trinity Posey, a Portage Northern graduate. Do you notice a theme here, folks? A member of the Les Miserables cast of 2018, and she is currently in New York City. Right? I know. So how is it going for you? This is interesting. So we have somebody at a university in Eastern, and you're in school, you're in and out. I know you were at NYU, and you're doing a lot of different things. It's very, very exciting. But what's that like being in New York right now, I guess, as we're kind of coming out of this? What has it been like for you?
In and out of school is very funny because that's accurate. But I mean, I'm enjoying being in New York. I'm glad to not be at home, and I have an internship here, and I'm auditioning for things, and just really trying to make the most of this very odd time, so that when things do hopefully open back up, when live theater is a thing again, I am ready to step in and get this thing started. That is my career.
And I'm sure and this is kind of for you, but also for all three of you, that you guys have also kind of like fallen into that. You're performers, and you want to be performers, and you want to study. You have to create content yourself digitally now. Is that right? It's like almost expected that you have to know what you're doing, not just like hit record, but in terms of sound, in terms of music. It's amazing what, because you guys are kind of thrown into that. Have you guys, anybody want to speak to that at all? What you've had to been forced to like learn as a arts performer in the digital world?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that auditioning for colleges, that we've all had to do, in at least for me and in Rosie's case, in her second time around, it was join the Zoom call and unmute your mic and sing. And so we had to know how, what lighting or what background or, that kind of knowledge to have. Like we couldn't really just go and be in the room and live for the audition. It was just from your own home. I got no shoes on. I'm on my carpet, so there are definitely some of those expectations that weren't really there. And so I'm sure that you could agree to that, Ro, as well.
Oh, absolutely. I had like a background that I had to prop up, a microphone, a speaker, my phone, and my computer for accompaniment. Like it was a whole setup. It's very bizarre to have to have all of that in addition to walking in the room, because now you've got so many other things that could go wrong.
Well, guys, I could talk to you all hour about the arts in the time of COVID, but we're here to play a game. And finally, I want to introduce our last player tonight, per se. She is our fact checker, Miss Carly Koch. Are you here? Bring you here.
I am.
Carly Koch. We brought in the big guns for the fact checker here, okay? Because, Carly, you are in 8th grade. You have been in Farmers Alley stage many times. And one of the questions is right up your alley with the best under 18 role in musical theater. We'll see what you have to say about that, because all of you have done some of those. So
Right.
Carly, we're happy to have you here. You're going to keep us all honest tonight, right?
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Right. And I know Jeremy's there as well. He'll be running around somewhere. I'm sure he can't not help but give his opinion tonight. So
of course.
Okay. We're just about to get underway. Let me really quickly just refresh everyone on the rules of the game. It's not a trivia show. There's an open-ended question that each person is going to get around 45 seconds to answer, and then we'll have like a little discussion moderation period on why their answers are the best, why the other answers, there's no way they're right, etc. And I will be the honorable judge that will decide whose answer is deemed the best and worthy for the round's point. So it's all about the argument. So bring the passion. Let's get the battle on. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready, Adam.
All right.
We'll find out.
Okay. If you want to comment along with us, we hope we will see you soon. So here we go. Question 1, battle time. Modern American musical theater has been around for over a century. Many shows have been given the moniker, the musical of a generation, right? Hair and Godspell was to baby boomers, as Rent was to Gen Xers, or Spring Awakening to millennials and such. So my question for you tonight is, what would you say is your generation's defining musical? And when I say your generation, let's say shows that debuted 2016 and after. So that takes Hamilton out of the picture because, that's a little bit too easy of an answer, I guess. So, all right. So we're going to begin with Rosie. Rosie, are you ready?
Yeah.
Tell me, what musical you think will be remembered decades from now as the defining show of your generation?
So the most defining musical of my generation, I think it's going to be The Prom, because in 2019 it won the Tony for the best musical, and it was big enough to be made into a musical that was put on Netflix that I watched about a week ago. And it's something that, it talks about representation and human rights in a very real way that I think is relatable to a lot of people my age. It includes a high school prom instead of, older adults trying to figure out their life. And so I think it includes the LGBTQ community in a really important way, where it's not a tragic ending for the gay couple, which is way too common in a lot of media and theatrical productions. And it talks about empathy and understanding and growing closer to each other, and standing up for who you are. And it inspires other people to stand up for themselves. So, yeah, I think it's going to last for a long time.
Interesting. Very nice. So The Prom, yes, has been a touchstone of many, many youthful folks for the past few years. I did just watch that show very recently, too. Kathleen says, with all these great singers, can you interject a little song into your answers? We're going to do One Day More at the end, right? Ready.
Ooh, let's go.
Excellent, Rosie, with The Prom. Okay, Jason, what is your answer for the defining musical of your generation?
Yes, I think that people looking back my age, years and years from now, will definitely agree that Dear Evan Hansen has to be the musical of our generation. Here's why. It appeals to our generation, kids like me and you, through the usage of social media. Dings and alerts and lights and flashing colors are all around the stage, and that is what we are surrounded by all day, okay? And for other obvious reasons like external teen conflict, interpersonal connections and relationships and how they deal with them socially, internal teen angst and identity issues, like struggling with how you identify and, what you deem valuable and how you want others to view you and how you want to portray yourselves to others. And me being a teenage boy, I know that I love to belt these songs out just like the next kid, with excellent music from Justin Paul and Ben Pasek, a great book by Stephen Levinson. To Tony Wynn in 2017, I think that it appeals to everything that Gen Z holds dear and valuable, and it will definitely be remembered as the musical of our generation.
All right. Dear Evan Hansen, a powerful nominee here. All right. So, Trinity, you have an answer for what do you think will be the defining musical of your generation?
Okay, so I don't think we have one yet. I think Hair was wild for its anti-war progressive kind of language. We've got Rent for what it did for the LGBTQ community, Spring Awakening, what it did for teen sexuality. And then we've got Prom, which is forgettable in my opinion with its lackluster and forgettable score. And then we've got Dear Evan Hansen, which is truly about, mental health, but a man who lies and pays no consequences. So I do not think that this generation has a show that will separate us from others that we will be talking about years from now with this powerhouse message that will really bring it home. It hasn't been made yet.
Interesting. We just haven't seen it yet. It hasn't been made yet, or we haven't seen it yet, or it hasn't come to the forefront yet.
It has not been on Broadway yet.
Oh, okay. Because I think there's a couple of nominees. When you say that, there's a couple of shows that are coming through or will be coming to Broadway. I can think of one off the top of my head when all this is over that would be interesting. But let me bring it back real quick to your comment about Dear Evan Hansen, which is a common knock on the show, that it is about a kid who lies and doesn't suffer any consequences. And how is that teaching our youth? So, Jason, how do you come to terms with that, I guess, would be my question for you.
Easy, Trinity. And here's why. Why does he lie? He doesn't lie to lie, and he doesn't lie because he's a mean kid. He lies because he deals with things inside himself. He comes from a broken family, a single mom, and he comes from these voices in his head that tell him he's not good enough, or that he doesn't get the girl, or he doesn't get any friends. And so he makes this fantasy up for himself. And some kids, not on this level, but some kids can relate to that and can identify with Evan and say, yeah, I always have this, hope that I will be included and I will be found. And sometimes you want to go to extreme ends Kaylee, but you have to go to extreme ends sometimes to just feel that sense of inclusion. So just because there is a flaw in the character, actually, we all have flaws and we all make mistakes. And that's another way that it relates to the audience.
Rosie, what were you going to say?
So, I agree. We all have flaws and it's great to be able to relate. However, I think that straight white men have been given the lead in musicals for far too long. And Dear Evan Hansen is just another example of that. So the Prom at least has a queer woman as the lead. Like,
is there any person of color in Dear Evan Hansen? I don't. No, I'm serious. It's a serious question.
There are.
Yeah, not in the leads. So I think overall, the Prom has a lot better representation as far as making sure that everyone can relate to the show.
Trinity?
Yeah, I would just like to say, as a queer person of color who takes medication for mental health, I think my answer is the most valid, because let me tell you, you don't need to lie. Anxiety is a thing, depression is a thing, and I get that it manifests differently in everyone. And I'm not saying that just because there's a flaw in the character that it's a horrible show. I do enjoy the show. I just don't think that Dear Evan Hansen or The Prom are going to be the shows that this generation is remembered by. I'm not saying these are bad shows. They obviously did well, but I would hope that what is coming is going to be greater than what we've seen since 2016, because if so, then this is not the golden age of Broadway that everyone thinks it is.
Jason?
Well, I would argue, Trinity, that your answer of just talking about why ours aren't the best answer isn't really an answer. I think that if you had provided us with with something better, or with something, maybe even a suggestion of what that new musical could look like, you would be in a better position. But as of right now,
that wasn't the question. The question wasn't, what should the musical look like? You want me to write a musical, I'll do it. But that wasn't the question.
No, but the question was, what musical? And you didn't even provide one musical. That was the question. What musical?
I will say that she made sure to say, is this okay with it? And I allowed it. So
all right, but I'm just saying,
I told her no.
Her argument is just against ours. It isn't for anything. So that is something that I would say. But yes, Rosie, I agree. I agree that highlighting all types is very, very important. But when you look at how it appeals, I think it appeals to both shows. Appeal to our generation. But I think that the concept of inclusivity and diversity is present in both. But I think the way that the shows will be remembered through the score and the book is why Evan Hansen has the edge here. Thank you.
Anybody else have any other final words?
I do have
Trinity
to say
or
one
Rosie?
thing.
I'm going to you, Carly. Go ahead.
Okay.
We can go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, Rosie, did you say that the Prom won a Tony?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure, if from what I found, I think it was only nominated and it actually lost to Hadestown. So as the fact checker, I just had to put it out there.
Oh, snap.
It didn't win a Tony and was still made into a musical anyway.
It was nominated for many Tonys, and yes, but that's what you're here for. Okay. No, that's what she's here for.
No hard feelings, just all facts.
Okay, Carly. Okay.
I love you, Rosie.
Okay. Good. Excellent answers, guys. Whoa, first answers. A lot of great points here. All three I could try, but I think Rosie, The Prom is a really, really great show, and I'm glad that it brings people who may not like theater or know much about theater as much to theater and see something that maybe they haven't seen before, and that's different and opens up them into a world of better things. I think that show is going to be good for high schools one day as well. As the defining musical of the generation, I don't know if you were able to back that up as much by just saying that it tells a LGBTQ story, though you do make the point that it's a happy story. It's a happy ending, whereas something like Rent is not a very happy ending. You can make an argument. Let's see. Dude, I gotta say, I think, and none of you said something, didn't say like how this musical may influence other musicals down the road, except Trinity did say that whatever is going to come down, she's looking forward to whatever is going to come down the road that will become the defining musical because it's not there. I think by Trinity saying none is a brave choice, and I think it's a winning choice. Simply because I think that Dear Evan Hansen, while a great show and that speaks to so much, I think is first of all is standing on the backs of other shows. You can make an argument that Next to Normal crawled so Dear Evan Hansen could run, whatever. But something shows that like what Rent, Hair, and Spring Awakening does kind of breaks the mold. Hamilton obviously broke the mold. And so I kind of gave you a difficult question by not including that in there. But I think what shows that Hamilton is going to influence, maybe a Strange Loop is a show that I've heard is getting a lot of buzz that Trinity might be that show that you're talking about when it comes to Broadway, whenever next year it happens. But excellent answers. I'm giving Trinity the point on this one. Very good. All right. Beginner's luck, right? It's her first time.
Yeah.
Let's move it on. We're rolling now to question 2. So, guys, I watched the Super Bowl a few weeks ago. I had no idea who The Weeknd was. I was like, well, it is The Weeknd. I'm so old, you guys. I thought this was a really good line. I thought I put it in our copy. I think Be More Chill is a new soda campaign for Sprite. So, nothing. Really no. Okay. Anyway, I'm an old fuddy-duddy. Many folks who love musicals are old fuddy-duddies too, but that doesn't mean that performers your age don't have talent. I mean, we see tons of Generation Z on the Disney Channel, whatever, all over the place. On Broadway, regional theater, touring, music, everywhere we see them. But we old folks just can't relate to the beauty and vibrancy that your performance brings. So let's provide a public service with this next question. So we asked you to choose a famous performer your age, a film performer, TV, stage, music, etc., or someone your age or around it, and cast them in a classic Broadway musical, let's say pre-1990. So what makes them perfect for this role and how they can show off their talent? And I said bonus points if you can pair them with a couple of established Broadway stars that us old folks may know. All right. So what Gen Z performer would be perfect for Broadway and in what show? And for our first answer, Jason, we are going to you. What do you got?
All right. My Gen Z performer, some of you might not know, his name is Joshua Bassett. Joshua Bassett is known in many areas of entertainment. He's known in musical theater, in TV and film, and in the pop world, in music in itself. He's had experience in musical theater when he sang for Peter Pan back when he was like 12 years old. He has had experience in TV when he was in High School Musical, the series, which a lot of kids my age will know and will think of. And he also is now made his name for himself, singing his own pop songs that he's written himself. Now, I will cast him as Dickon in The Sound of Music. The Secret Garden. What am I doing? Dickon in The Secret Garden. They both start with S's. But why? Well, Dickon's main song, Winter's on the Wing, is consistent. It consists of many descriptive phrases and has a lot of imagery. Winter's on the wing, it's a fine spring more. Kathleen Weissert, that was for you. And he would have very good experience with descriptive lyrics as he would have sung in his pop songs. So he would be able to perform that young and youthful kid who really is in love with nature and what surrounds him because he's so young. Now, add Stephen Pasquale. And
wrap it up here now, Jason. Stephen Pasquale. Got to wrap it up here. It's over 45 seconds, man.
I'm bringing some people that you'll know.
All right, you got it.
Add Stephen Pasquale and add Will Chase, reunion for Archie and Craven, and then you've got yourself a start to a great cast. Thank you.
Interesting. Very good. Interesting. Joshua Bassett as your answer, Jason. Next up, Trinity. Trinity, who is your Gen Z performer on Broadway? And what show would you like to see them in?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm going to have to go with Miss JoJo Siwa, and I'm going to put her as Glinda in Wicked, and let me tell you why. So first, queer icon, right? She's 17. She just came out of the closet. We've got queer representation going to be down there in the Gershwin Theater. She could play funny. She can play cutesy. She's young. She's blonde. I think she would bring something fresh to the musical. She'd bring new seats in. So, the front row doesn't have to only be filled with older, lighter people. It could have some kids there, could influence a new generation of Broadway. She's already got sparkles. She's got it all going for her. And I'm trying to see her high top shoes in the Gershwin. And that's that.
Interesting. Okay, so I just had to Google JoJo Siwa because I didn't know who they were. And so Siwa, S-I-W-A. So I'm interested in hearing more about JoJo. Yeah. Okay, excellent. All right. So is Glinda in Wicked? That's what you said?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Okay. Now, Rosie, who is your performer?
Okay, so I have chosen Shawn Mendes, the one and only, 22 years old, has been singing since he was in his teens. He's been around for a while. And I would cast him as Sky Masterson in Guys and Dolls. I mean, we already know that he can sing. He can pull off that suave, cool, have you seen pictures of him in a suit? If not, look up pictures of him wearing a suit. You will not regret it. He can pull it off. And he carries around that air of having all the girls fall over him. If you've ever, Carly, you've been to a Shawn Mendes concert, girls go for Shawn Mendes. So he'd have that sort of suave, having girls fall over him. And so he would fit the type of, when Sarah is not interested in him, it would increase his interest in her. And plus, people just love him. So I think he'd just pull in audience members really well, which, once the pandemic's done, we're going to need that boost for theaters. So I think having a big name like that would be really important for the show.
So Shawn Mendes, he does look like a very handsome man.
Right?
The suit.
Yeah.
Does look like a Sky. Is his voice, what is his voice like? Because I don't know, because I'm totally clueless. What is Shawn Mendes? I've heard of him, but does he have a Sky voice? Is it like that deep, I think of Sky Masterson. I think that Marlon Brando the presence, or the Peter Gallagher from the revival. That deep voice. What is his voice like, Shawn Mendes? How would you describe it?
He's more of huh? Yeah. I think similar to Jason's.
Yeah, it's poppy and
mediocre.
It's pop flavored, and it's got some yes.
Yes, Jeremy, we know.
Charlie,
we know, Dad.
Dad did.
Well, I want to hear Jeremy's take then. If he thinks he could play Sky Masterson, yes or no?
Yeah, Dad. What do you think? How would you describe Shawn's voice? How would you describe?
How would you describe Shawn?
Ask the
Mendes'
professional.
voice?
Exciting and.
Is he like Michael Bublé?
No.
He's saying it's
And
exciting and powerful and
Lots of
I can just like
levels.
imagine him
Lots of levels.
singing like "Luck be a lady tonight." Like,
Ah.
oh,
So Rosie,
Yes,
I'm going to
yes.
come back to you, but I want you to come up with some people who are going to be in the show with him. Who's his Sarah? Who's his Nathan Detroit? Who's his some other established Broadway stars? Let's see what you got. While I ask, okay, so JoJo is. Tell me more about JoJo.
I would
Do
love
we know
to.
is JoJo a singer?
JoJo is everything. Let me tell
American
you.
Dancer. Oh, she was on Dance Moms.
She was on Dance Moms. She was on Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. She is now a singer. She has things at Five Below. She's got stickers. She's famous on TikTok. You know, she's a woman of many talents.
Is she? Let's see. Wow, 17. I would. Yes, she definitely looks like a Glinda. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Who would you pair with her, though? Do you have any idea?
I would, the first person that came to my mind is maybe Olivia Rodrigo, if we're doing the Joshua Bassett kind of thing. Let's say Olivia Rodrigo, who is famous for, the driver's license song that recently came out. So I'm going with her.
Interesting. Okay. And let's see. So, and I really, Jason, liked your Josh Bassett cast for Secret Garden with Will Chase and who was the other guy? Stephen Pasquale. Yes, that's a good revival.
Yes,
but you say that Josh is known in musical theater. I've never known him. Where would I have seen him? Why is he so great? Other than High School Musical, the series.
Musical theater was just a part of his experience. You wouldn't know him because he's been in many shows and performed at theaters, but he did sing a song called Never Never Land that was done when he was young. And it went real all over the place, and a lot of people saw it. And if I saw it when he was 12 years old and when I was like 10 years old, then I was aware of him then singing a musical theater song, and then I was aware of him when he was in a TV show, and now I'm aware of his pop songs. So he is definitely a well-known Gen Z performer, and to pair him with Will Chase and Stephen Pasquale, that would just bring it all together. You'd get the Gen Z crowd, and you'd get your fuddy-duddy crowd, right, Adam?
That's right, the fuddy-duddies. Got to get the fuddy-duddies. Fuddy-duddies and the blue hairs. So is it a problem that let's see, so, okay. Anybody have any other final words? I think I'm almost ready to render judgment here. But anybody has anything they'd like to say about their answer or anybody else's? Olivia Rodrigo's driver's like, oh yeah, that's what that is? Okay, because I felt so old in the SNL sketch. Olivia, okay, well, a bunch of old guys like my age and Jeremy's age singing the song. It's funny. So,
I just would like to personally say that if JoJo Siwa was Glinda in Wicked, I would not go see it for that reason.
Well, Rosie, ma'am, I did not ask you.
I'm just saying. He asked if we had final words, and I figured I'd put that out there.
All right, excellent. Okay. So I think I'm ready. Let's see. Joshua Bassett, JoJo Siwa, Shawn Mendes. It's a great cast, Jason. It's a great cast. It's a good cast for JoJo Siwa. I think you say that she's really, really popular. I don't doubt that. I think that, and I don't know if is she a singer? She's like belter, like Glinda,
Adam,
or like
Adam, where are your children? Ask them. They have heard of her. She is extraordinary. Let me
my
tell
children
you.
are 6 and 8. They know,
Can she hit
Ryan's
the high
voice.
notes though?
Everyone knows JoJo.
Okay.
JoJo performs more for the younger crowds, like the younger girls. So that I would not be surprised if your girls knew.
I see.
Wake them up, bring them out here.
Can she hit the high notes though?
Adam.
Yes, Jason.
If I may, Rosie, you're taking a couple shots at Trinity. I'm going to take one at you. Shawn Mendes' voice is not a Guys and Dolls style. Shawn Mendes belongs in pop, and he would not be able to handle the Sky Masterson timbre. And I think that he would actually stick out in the show, because instead of that Frank Sinatra, luck be a late, that little warmer style, he's going to have a little too much tang to his voice, and he's just going to be a little too poppy if I had to.
Rosie, what do you got to say?
You want to talk about too pop? JoJo Siwa is too poppy. I don't think she's going to be able to hit the high notes.
Well, Jason,
no one mourns the wicked, the high note at the end. I don't think
Jason,
so.
if you're saying, if Jason's saying,
Carly, you're not a contestant. Wait a second. Jason, you're and Josh Bassett's voice is attuned for.
Well, now, while it is definitely steeped in a pop style, his voice has a certain warmth. Carly, you can back me up on this. Joshua Bassett's voice has a certain warmth to it that Shawn Mendes doesn't have. And Dickon is young. Dickon is a young boy who is observing the outdoors, and he's talking about, and he's very youthful. And Sky Masterson, you know.
Right. I'm ready to excellent points. But however, Jason, you forgot Dickon doesn't come out till half hour in the show. All the Generation Z's, they'll be gone by the time they're looking at Will Chase. I'm giving the point to Rosie. For Shawn Mendes. I want to see Shawn Mendes, I think, bring Broadway back with a big star like that.
Thank you.
I think is going to be slick. When
auditions go, I'm auditioning for Sarah.
Maybe I'm putting my producer hat on here. I don't know, but just I hear that, and then when she flushes it out a bit, you got any stars to put with them though? Don't make me take the point away. Oh no, putting you on the spot. Maybe Jeremy has some ideas.
I was the only one with a cast that you had asked.
That is true.
That is true. All right, no, I'm just kidding. Now, points to Rosie. Points to Rosie. I don't know who Josh Bassett is.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Now, excellent. All right, we have one more question remaining, folks. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Carly. I apologize. Did you have something you wanted to say earlier?
All I was going to say was Jason was saying that Shawn Mendes doesn't have the richness to his voice that could be Sky, but he sounds a lot like Jason. So Jason, you're pretty much saying you could never play Sky Masterson.
Oh.
Just wanted to point that out.
Carly, I didn't get the point. Okay, don't rub it in.
You can beat me up after the show. It doesn't matter.
Thank you, Kathleen.
We're all good here. So, all right, we're in the home stretch
I also
now.
vote for Jason, but I got the point, so thank you.
Very much. We're in the home stretch now, okay? Our final question. All of you were in a production of Les Mis together in high school. Yay, in age-appropriate roles, no less. And Trinity, you were Eponine, right?
Correct.
And Rosie was Fantine.
No.
Jason.
Cosette.
No, Cosette. Jason was Fantine. That's right.
Yes.
It's a different take. No, Jason was Marius. Very, very good. Excellent production. I still remember it very well. What a great job you guys did in that show. But
that's
as you,
Fantine. Adam, that's your Fantine, Ellie.
Oh, Ellie. Oh God, sorry, Ellie. She was wonderful. It's Fantine Dream June. Fantastic. Anyway, let me move on. Les Mis, as you know, also has an iconic role for a youngster in the feisty Gavroche, who I know Jason played when he was a younger man as well. So, which begs the question here: what is the best under 18 role in a musical? There is a lot to choose from here. We got a lot of title role possibilities, Annie to name a few. However, your choice doesn't necessarily have to be a lead role. So there's a lot to consider here. All right, let us go to Trinity with her answer. You are first. What is the best under 18 to have?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say young Allison in Fun Home. I know that Carly played her and did a fantastic job. The girl who was in it on Broadway, Cindy Lucas, was nominated for a Tony at age 11, but awards and accolades aside, it is simply a character with so much depth, which you often don't see characters under 18 written for. But I think because there's just so much inherent, just deep things that that character goes through, that there has to be so much depth. There has to be so much feeling. She gets an amazing song out of Ring of Keys, and she really carries a lot of parts of the show.
Excellent. Amazing role. And Carly, yes, you did an amazing job of that in Fun Home in 2019.
Thank you.
So great answer. with young Allison from Fun Home. Rosie, what is your choice for the best under 18 role?
So young Allison is a very solid choice. I'll give you that, Trinity. However, Chip in Beauty and the Beast has to be the best kids role. Literally, Chip rolls on stage in his little cart and is instantly adored. And like that cart itself, like at the end of the show, everyone's like, yay, Belle ends up with the Beast as a prince, happily ever after, whatever. But everyone wants to know how Chip's cart worked. And you get to be this kid and know theater magic and have like that be the part that everyone remembers and is the most curious about. Plus, you know, he's a small part, but always gets so much attention and is, you know, when he finally can like run out to Mrs. Potts, it's just like so wholesome and adorable. And his lines are also just, they're not very long, but they're always just perfectly timed. So yeah, and he also doesn't have to memorize any blocking because someone else pushes him around. So like being that role has got to be great because you're just, you know, sitting in the cart. So yeah, Chip is by far the best.
Good answer as well. We're talking interesting for the discussion. It's kind of like apples and oranges here with these roles. We'll bring that into play as well. Jason, what is your answer for best under 18 role?
Yes, Mr. Coryell, sir. It's funny that you would say that because I am going to agree with you. Simba, young Simba, for many reasons, is the best under 18 role. For obvious reasons, like he's fun and energetic. He's got the most fun song, I Just Can't Wait to Be King. And, you know, he uses that energy and he runs around and he opens the show. You know, he starts it off. Basically, he opens the first scene. And he just brings that character to life. Now, for another reason that is even more impactful is since he is young and since The Lion King is a Disney musical and a Disney movie, young kids are going to see it. Now, young Simba relates to the audience because he is young, naive, energetic, and he introduces those young kids watching to this culture of the African dance and African movements and the Swahili language and all of these cultural elements that he brings to life through his youthfulness and through his energy. And so the fact that he is so energetic and so fun and young and, you know, I just really a true youngster. And that is why he can dig into the style in both the culture and the character.
Very good. Young Simba as your answer. So we have some interesting different answers that here. I think there's two things to take into account. Main things like you have the role itself, right? Like if you looked at all three of these roles, obviously young Allison has the most meat, right? It's the most, and you can make an argument that it's the most difficult of the three, but yet there is, you know, the argument of, well, what Rosie pointed out is like when he comes on, when he rolls that flipping cart on that stage, man, and I've seen it many times, people they fall in love with the joy of theater, and kids who are seeing maybe a show for the first time see that and they wonder how that is done. And they fall in love with the magic of theater. So what what the question I have for you guys is what is maybe more important, perhaps more impactful with your choices, you know, because you wouldn't show Fun Home to an 8-year-old kid, but, you know, there are a lot of things to think about. So somebody please take over for me because I don't know.
Yeah. Trinity, me?
Yeah, I'll start. I am always one to lean into how does something make you feel. I think like even my goal as an artist is to bring humanity to the forefront and empathy. And so I think, how is someone going to feel when they walk away from this show? Are they going to feel more human? What are they going to remember? When you walk away from Fun Home, young Allison's performance is truly something you will never stop thinking about. I've seen it live at Farmers Alley twice, and I haven't stopped thinking about Carly's portrayal of the young Allison. And I think, yes, Chip, love him. Yes, Simba, absolutely fantastic. Like, these are all great characters. But what are you going to walk away with from these shows? You are walking away with more empathy for your gay neighbor, for the person beside you. You are walking away with understanding a lesbian experience. And I think nothing can beat how deep that role is and what it has done for just queer people everywhere.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And it brings the humanity. And also, but you can make the argument that it's different because, what you want to bring home at the end of the day with that role, but how you could make the argument that you're giving an 8-year-old with Lion King or Beauty and the Beast, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
You're giving them that same feeling, right? Jason, Rosie?
Yeah.
And I think in some ways, like, for both Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, like, they're Disney shows. They're meant to be, like, you learn a lesson throughout them, but you also feel good at the end. And I think for a lot of people, theater is an escape. And especially for kids, like, I know sometimes, like, as a kid, you don't want to go see something that's going to be hard or sad or difficult. You just want to go see your favorite movie, but on the stage. And I think that both Lion King and Beauty and the Beast do that well, of like teaching lessons, but also making sure that, it's an escape from the real world, especially like right now in a pandemic. Everyone needs to feel happy for a while.
Yeah. If I could jump in, I would say that Trinity, while young Allison is a great answer, you are pulling the sexuality card again. And I will say that in terms of like what Adam said about how appealing to younger kids or the audience members of yes, I was young Simba in Lion King and then middle school, 7th grade. That was fun. But when you are appealing to younger kids and trying to teach them a lesson through fun shows and this and that, I'm not sure that, just like what Adam said about a 6, 7, or 8-year-old who would really find that message through Fun Home. Rosie, you've got a great point that Chip has a lot of fun things about him. But if the question was, what's the best pushable set piece, you could say Chip's table. But it's the role itself. The role in itself isn't the most, powerful or like memorable of a character. Yes, he's adorable, and I played him as well. This is very fun. But young Simba actually teaches and introduces young kids his age to a culture unlike or very alike their own, and teaches them, morals and styles and cultures and ethics and morals. And so there are a lot of things that sort of envelop Lion King that are presented through Simba, especially in his youth. And that is such a brat.
He's such a brat.
Well, that could be argued.
Can I say something? Last thing I just want to say that first off, me pulling out my sexuality is not a card that I play. It's not in a 42 pickup thing. I'm just letting you know, like, the impact of shows like that. It's not just a card. Like, those shows really do impact people. And I just think it's, what are you looking for? Like, what is the question that he's asking? Is he asking, like, what's the easiest role to play as a kid? Is he asking what's the most impactful role to play? Like, it's so many different things that I think, like,
very broad.
Yeah, it's super broad. So, like, that's really cool.
I want to preface, I did not mean your sexuality. I did not mean
I know. I just had to comment, Jason. Duh.
Okay. It has been a common theme tonight. It has been a common theme.
But I like jumping on that, Trinity. I agree. I think we all answered really solid roles that answered a different question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I think it's going to make the winner of this answer so arbitrary, and I could probably throw something in the air and make it, because and that's one of the reasons, like, I was surprised of your guys' answer. Excellent answers, you guys. So very, very intelligent. Anybody have any other final words? I think I'm ready. You guys make all great points. It's, both, I think Jason and Rosie were at a disadvantage at the beginning of this question, because I'm really surprised that you guys didn't pick, like, Carly, what are some roles that they left off the board for best under 18 ball?
God,
Obviously,
I've actually been trying to think about that, and I know that there are more, but right, there's Annie, that's one. There's Annie,
Oliver,
Matilda.
That's the other one.
You listed those 3 in the question.
I know, so you could have still chosen them.
Yeah, but you provided them as examples, so
that's
we didn't.
The easy way out.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize for that, but there are many, many more. I'm going to render Trinity the point here. I think young Allison, the way that she however, if a kid was judging this, he's giving Jason the point.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So I think, and it could give Rosie the point there as well. But young Allison is a role I think that, Carly can probably attest to looking back on. There's it's going to be few that you're going to be like, unless your Mama Rose someday. There's some that just are the best.
That's another thing. There's also like Baby June and Gypsy and Mary Lennox and Secret Garden and things like that, which are awesome roles. And I'm biased to Small Allison because, it was such an awesome role to play. And it was really hard to play, but it was really, 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 really fun. And so,
you didn't want to say, what were your brothers' names in that show? Those are pretty good parts too.
What were their names? It was John and Christian.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're good too because they get a great song, then they just go away. You got to do all the hard work.
It's just done.
That's the best. Chip just rolls out, everybody loves him, and then he rolls on back. He doesn't have a costume, just something fits on his flipping head.
It's the best.
All right, guys, the 30 questions are over. That means that I think we have a winner. Is that correct? I think that means today, Trinity Posey, you are our champion with Broadway Battles. Congratulations. Your prowess, your knowledge. Rosie, Jason, excellent job tonight. I am so impressed by your knowledge. Anybody really could have won. Jason, you did your dad proud tonight. Carly, you as well. Thank you so much for being online here and being with us. Does anybody have anything to promote or plug? Or seriously? I don't know.
Me on, if you could follow me on Instagram at Trinity24601. It is a Les Mis reference in case you did not know. But follow me for relatable, quirky content.
That's right.
Love it.
Oh, there you go. Follow Trinity on IG. Very good. So Trinity, you are the winner. You can take this with pride, knowing that you are the champion of Broadway Battles amongst these fabulous Portage Northern students / graduates that I am proud to be a member of. We also have everybody on this screen right now, except, me, have been babysitters of my kids or my brother's kids. So they miss you all. And
miss
can't
them
wait
too.
But guys, I want to thank you. I want to thank Hunter for producing.
Yes.
Hey, Hunter, come on, because Hunter doesn't never. Can you come on and say hi?
Yeah, hi.
Hi,
Another northern grad.
That's right, another northern. We're just full of Huskies here.
Oh, Jeremy's here. Look at that.
Thanks for appearing.
Hey, Jeremy, what's going on?
You guys, wow. I hope everything is fun. Everything's Jeremy, do you know what we got coming up later? When's your next Koch Corner?
Make him do the promo from the side of Carly's camera.
Dad?
Because I don't know. Usually here's the time where we promote our upcoming shows. I know we have Broadway Battles next month. Do we know?
Gotta give him an AirPod.
What shows we got coming up next? What do we got coming up next, Jared?
Let's say we've got a virtual reading of a brand new musical called Sophia.
Oh,
Our
I wasn't
Beloved.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about that. I was talking about digital stuff like Farmers Alley at Home.
I gotta check the calendar on that, Adam. I'll get back to you.
Sounds good. Well, we got stuff every week, whether it's Lights, Camera, Musical with Rob Weiner, whether it's, the Koch Corner.
We
with
love
Jeremy.
you too, Deneen.
Absolutely. And you guys, thank you for watching. Keep following us. We'll keep being here. We can't wait to show you all of the great stuff we have coming up over the next 6 months. And Trinity, Jason, and Rosie, thank you so much for being great contestants. We will see everyone back here soon. Follow and subscribe to Farmers Alley. Go to our website at farmersalleytheater.com or on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. This show will be up. Tell all your friends, tell all your enemies, and we will be back soon on here on different platforms. And soon we will be able to join you in person at the theater. So thank you so much. Have a great night from all of us at Farmers Alley.